Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie if you're new here. I have been sharing my cancer journey for almost the last 2 years now. It'll be 2 years next month. Also the second birthday of our beautiful baby girl. So it's been quite a ride. I want to start this video by saying I am not a psychologist, and the only experience I have with children is my own child, as well as I was a nanny for many years and also helped with my nieces and nephews. So, and I was in education and taught kindergarten, preschool, second grade for a few years, as well as working in children's ministry. So I've had my fair share of experience with children. I've seen children in all kinds of situations, and I just kind of wanted to share what our experience has been with our girl as we have navigated this cancer journey, in case it is helpful for any new parents getting diagnosed, kind of walking those paths. But yeah, don't know, not, like I said, not a psychologist, so I can't really speak to like all the ins and outs of it other than to share our experience and what I have felt with our baby girl, and as well as with my nieces and nephews. And I don't see as much of that, like what they go through with it, as I do with her on a daily basis, but I see some of it, and so I just figured I would share that. Short update: got my chemo pump for the next 3 days. Right now feeling really good. Chemo, for those that have not experienced it, kind of psychs you out at first because you're like, oh, I'm on my chemo and I feel okay. But you're also on steroids the first couple days, and then after the steroids wear off is when I really know like what my side effects will be. But they did lower my dose of both of my chemos. They had lowered the first one at my second cycle, and that helped. So I'm hoping that the lowering of this other dose helps even more. But that's just the short update for where we're at. But today I wanted to talk about her experience, our experience as a child who has a parent with any kind of medical diagnosis, really, but in our specific case, it's cancer, and just what that's looked like and how we've navigated it, because it's definitely been, a new world that we never expect to experience with her. I went into motherhood thinking I've got a lot of experience with children. I'm going to be, okay. And for the most part, we've done what we wanted to do, with some exceptions because of our unique situation. But this has just been our experience. So the question for the video is, do I feel that toddlers, especially toddlers and then children, do they understand when a parent has cancer or any kind of medical issue? And my belief is yes, they, especially for toddlers, while I wouldn't say they understand it, they know that something is going on around them. So for us, she was born at 32 weeks. She was born at 32 weeks. Sorry, a friend was trying to call. I'll call her back. So that I could start my chemo treatments. Thankfully, she was measuring well, and they thought that it was safe for her to come early because I did not want to do chemo with her in my stomach. I just didn't want her exposed to that, and so we chose to deliver early, and she spent 2 weeks in the NICU. And, at first we're in this whirlwind of cancer and diagnosis and trying to figure out what's next for me. Meanwhile, we're also trying to care for her in the NICU. And I had a few days, like 3 days before I started my treatment, when I could go and have her skin to skin. After my treatment started, I had to gown up and wear a mask whenever I was in the room with her while I was on my chemo, just because chemo sheds out of your pores, and we didn't want anything leaking on her. So for me to keep her safe, I had to do all of that. But either way. We noticed really early on when she would be skin to skin on me, if I was in the room with, my mom or babe or, someone was in there and we were trying to talk about cancer and like what we were going to do, what, treatments were coming up, all of that. If we were talking about it at all and she was laying on me, while I didn't feel like I was getting anxious, I must have been, because she would be laying on me and her stats, because, she's connected to a monitor, her stats would start going up. Like her thing would start beeping. I can't remember what it was that went high, but it was like either her pulse or her oxygen levels would like go all wonky, because she was on oxygen too. And her little body just knew that something was off, right? She was days old and her body responded to, the tense situations we were talking about. And so we made the decision at that point to not talk about cancer in the room with her. So if we were in her room, no cancer talk. It was all singing to her, reading to her, just talking to her. And that helped. As long as we were not talking about cancer in any capacity, she was calm on me. She was safe. She felt just connected. But anytime if we would make a mistake and start, someone would ask me a question that didn't know we weren't talking about it in the room, her stats would go crazy again. And so just that was a hard rule we set for her as an infant. Even once we got home, we waited till she would be in bed or sleeping or something like that to talk about any of it. And there were moments that she was awake that I would get, upset, but I tried to not be holding her when I did, because those first weeks, and really, I would say at least the first 3 months of a cancer diagnosis are just, they're hell. There's no other way to describe it. We didn't know which end was up. We're exploring all kinds of different paths, and I will get to that in another video because I think that needs to be shared in some capacity as well. But we were exploring holistic treatments. Obviously, by the time we were home, I had a round of chemo and we'd started traditional treatments, but we were looking into anything and everything and trying to figure out why and what caused it. And so it's just, you're in this like tornado of information and overload and sensory overload, because you've been touched by all these doctors, and I had just given birth as well, so the touching and everything was overwhelming. So I would have moments where I would kind of break down and just struggle, and she saw that even as an infant, and I don't know how she took it in, but like I said, we would try and not have her on me when that was happening. And that helped. And then for a while, her infancy was just, we were pretty normal and just enjoying that until I had to go into the hospital to get my tumor removed. And so I was away from her for 14 days. And that was hard on me. Thankfully, she had a lot of people to love on her and care for her. But, that mother-daughter connection that we're working on forming, I wasn't with her at night and being able to care for her, and that was hard, and I think it was hard for her too. It was confusing. Even she was born in September, and my first surgery was in January, so she was 4 months old. And while she doesn't remember it as much as she remembers my second surgery, it still affected her. There was still like a learning curve of different sleep patterns that we had to deal with. And I can't remember the name of the book, and I haven't read it, so I can't speak to it, but it's like the body keeps the score, or the body remembers, or something like that. And I truly believe that her little body remembers those things. And I hate that for her, because the early part of her life, I just wanted it to be so sheltered and safe feeling, and, just love filled. But not every child gets that. And, family situations included, their little bodies can learn and understand trauma so early, and I may need to go get her. Like right now, her little body wants to be cuddling mama, and she's supposed to be napping, but nap times have been a struggle recently because of all that's going on. So it's hard to know, too, what's normal, 2-year-old behavior. She's almost 2. What's normal 2-year-old, behavior at this time, even though I do have some experience with it. Kids cry during nap and sometimes don't want to nap, and that's normal. But we've noticed that her nap patterns take on a different nap and sleep, take on a different pattern when her world is just disrupted by me going into the hospital. So when I had to go in the hospital just for the 2 days, it was either 2 nights or 3 nights. I cannot remember. But because I was in the hospital those few nights, she had been doing really well. It had gotten comfortable sleeping here in a new environment. She's a good sleeper. She sleeps usually until 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and then she usually takes a 2 to 2.5 hour nap in the afternoon. So, she got my sleep genes, which I'm really hoping we keep, because mama likes to sleep till 8 a.m. too. But when I got back from the hospital, I think she was so afraid I was going to leave again. She was waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and just was up and just screaming for me. And at home, she wakes up very calmly. She talks in her bed, reads her books for like 30 minutes. And after the hospital, that just wasn't the case. And really, she hasn't woken up like that since the hospital, but it took about a week for her to get to a place where she started back with her normal sleep pattern. So 7:38, and then for the first couple of days she wasn't napping, and she got back to napping, which we'll see if she's going to do today. But we had to change up kind of what we were doing. She's also gotten used to, because Babe is working remotely, we're both here when she goes down for nap, and we're both here when she goes down for bed. So her nap and her bed routine usually includes both of us singing to her and then laying her down, giving her a kiss, and walking out of the room. And so I think when even one of us isn't here, it disrupts that for her. So one day, Babe had taken a dad day and just gone and worked out of the house. She did not nap. And just, and that's partially a routine thing. It wasn't her normal routine. But after I get out of the hospital, and then especially the days that he's been going with me to my infusion days, which are really long days at the hospital. We usually leave around 9, and we don't get back until around 6. So he did that the first 2 cycles, and then this cycle, we knew I really wasn't going to get any more information, so I was like, I'm just going to go by myself. I felt good enough to do that. It also gave me time to just kind of be, in my own space, and then he took half a day and stayed with her. So I had to be at the hospital, I think, around 11. So he worked until then, and then he took the day off with her. And that was so helpful. So if that's something that you need to do, my mom is here to help. My dad is here right now. My dad comes and goes. My mom has been with us the whole time. But even just letting them care for her has been hard for her. Bless my mom's heart. She tries so hard and does so much for her. But she has started associating my mom helping her with me not being there or not being able to help her. And so for a long time she was saying, no Beachy help, no Beachy help. That's my mom's grandma named Beachy. No Beachy help, mama do it, mama do it. And we'd have to tell her, sometimes mama can't do it. Mama needs to rest. Oh, that was what I meant to do. I meant to wait and share this video after I got my sister-in-law made this amazing, what are they called? Social story for her about mommy needing to be in the hospital. And word for word, it's perfect for something, if you need something to help, your child understand and cope with what's going on. And there's pictures of us in it for her to look at when I'm not here. So I will share that when I get it. She's mailing it or possibly bringing it up when they come. She even made a little like page at the end that says, when mama's not here, this might be where she is. And like errands, doctor, hospital overnight, coffee shop. And she's going to put a little like check mark on it. And so Andalie can move the check mark herself to wherever I am. So she knows where I am, but she also knows mommy will be coming home, and I'll get to move my check mark to show me that mommy's back home with me. And it's just social story. I think that's what it's called. But she, oh my gosh, she sent me the hard copy of it like in an email for me to see if I wanted to change anything. And I'm like reading it. I had to start reading it out loud to Babe, and I was crying because it's just so good. So when I get it, I will read it for you so that if you want the verbiage and need it, you can use it. I'm assuming she won't care if I share it because she wrote it perfectly. But there's even a page in it that says, when mommy can't help me, other people can help me, like my Beachy. And there's a picture of my mom and a picture of her, and mom's helping her. And I was reading it, like I said, out loud to Babe in the car, and she was in the back, and she goes, no Beachy help, from the back of the car. And it just breaks my heart, but it's like those things that we're dealing with. She just struggles right now with anyone else helping her, because I think she thinks it means I can't help her or I'm not there. And so we're just kind of learning to navigate that, both as she may have done that anyways, but also she wouldn't be living with my mom right now if we weren't going through cancer. So my mom wouldn't be here all the time to do those things for her when I can't do them. Because I should have been able to do them for her. And sometimes because of what I'm going through, and when I can't get off of the couch, someone has to help me. And so it's just those little things for her little body we've tried to make easier for her in ways that we can. We know that we can't always do that, and that's okay. But she's learning just as much as we are. We're learning it all together. So making sure that Babe can be here whenever he can. When I'm not here, that's helpful. At night now, when she goes to bed, we tell her, mommy will be here when you wake up. Daddy will be here when you wake up. And, if dad's here, surf daddy, my dad. If my dad's here, surf daddy will be here when you wake up. And Beachy will be here when you wake up. And then she says, Missy? Because Missy is my mom's dog. Yes, Missy will be here when you wake up. And that seems to comfort and help her sleep better and go to sleep easier when she knows who's going to be here when she wakes up. And so it's just those things like that we've navigated, and that's how we've approached them. So I know it will be different for everyone's situation. Everyone's situation is different. And I just kind of wanted to share what works for us. But I do think that even as a toddler, she understands, she knows something is going on. She knows that things are not necessarily as they would be or as they were when we were home and mommy was feeling fine. And she knows that there's a difference. And so just helping her little body handle that is, something we're learning. She's trying again. Call you back in a minute, Beef. But we're helping her little body navigate that. And my nieces and nephews as well. My nephew is a year older than her, and he sent me a sticker. They go to Sprouts, and he gets a sticker when he goes. They love him there. And he put it over his eye and said, I'm like my Aunt Mel. And so it's just, for him, he's not in the day-to-day, suck of it. So he knows I'm different. He knows I have a different look. He knows that I'm doing things to help heal my body, and that's why we can't see him as much right now because we're in a different place. But even he asks, he's like, are we going to see Aunt Mel now? I have a patch like Aunt Mel, things like that. So even his little body understands. And then my nieces and nephews who are older, I have a 20-year-old nephew, and then I have 2 preteen nieces, and younger, I have no, yeah, 8. I have 8 and 10-year-old nieces and nephews, and each one of them handles it differently. And it's been interesting to see kind of how they cope with it, but they know, the teenagers especially, they understand exactly what I have. I have cancer. They know what it is. My nieces, I have one niece who texts me, bless her heart, every couple days. My other niece checks in. And so they're all navigating it in their own ways, and just trying to support them through that too. They've been at all of my, like when we had my last day of radiation, which we thought was going to be the end of all these treatments, thinking we'd kicked cancer's butt. They were there, and my husband said like a speech and also talked about, what we walked through before as a family with my brother's passing. And so my nieces were there. They were watching all of it, crying. And, I told them to come over to me, and we just hugged and understood that it's hard, and their little bodies, it's okay for them. Oh, there's Dad. And it affects my parents too. Cancer affects a whole family. But even at a young age, I think it affects toddlers and kids. And I think that you just do what you can to help them navigate it. I hope this was helpful. I think I just kind of rambled, but mostly I wanted to share what we've done, which mostly kind of circles around her sleep habits, but just making sure that when I'm here and present, I can be fully present with her, and that when she needs, like, she's been saying, Mama, cuddle, Mama, 5 minutes for nap. When she needs me to do that, I do it. Whereas before we were, and for the most part we do still, like, let her kind of fuss it out until she falls asleep. That was what worked well with the kids I nannied for, and we were planning to do that with her, and we do it mostly, but because of kind of what we've been through, where we're at, us wanting to make sure she feels safe and not scared because I might not be here, not because she just is fussing because she doesn't want to go down for her nap. So we've kind of tweaked it some. If she's up there kind of screaming, Mama, cuddle, sometimes I will go in and cuddle her. And the other day, she just wasn't having it. When I would try and put her in bed, it was not working. And so we had our first contact cuddle nap since she was under 1, and it was beautiful and perfect for both of us, and we needed it. And so when she needs those days, we give them to her. And that's just, does it mean I miss out on having some, quiet time to myself? Yes, but that's okay. Her needs right now, sometimes my needs have to come first if I'm really struggling physically, and then as long as I am completely physically fine to care for her, her needs come first. And so if I miss my puzzle time, which I'm about to do in a minute, that's okay. She needed a contact nap, and we had a contact nap. So if you have to make exceptions, like extra TV time that we also didn't plan for her to have, and we now have quite a bit of, which I say it like that. We really don't watch that much TV, but in the mornings we have TV time, and then sometimes after nap we have TV time. And it gave me a lot of guilt at first, but now I kind of love it. We get to cuddle. So our intention with her is, if we're watching TV, we're watching TV. She's cuddling with me, we're on the couch, we're watching TV, we're singing along to Encanto. And then if she's down and she's playing, the TV's off. We don't have it on in the background. It's not background noise. It's we're watching TV, or we're playing with intention. And yes, is it more than we ever planned for her to watch at this age? We didn't plan for her to watch any TV at this age. And now she is watching TV. But like I said, I kind of love it. I've watched so many movies that I haven't seen since I was watching them with my nieces and nephews when they were little. And it's wonderful. It gives me time to rest without feeling like I'm not there with her. I'm there with her on the couch resting, and she's getting to watch a movie, and she loves them. And as much as I was like, oh, it's going to hurt her brain, honestly, she knows what's coming next in a lot of the shows. She's learned a lot of vocabulary from some of the movies we've watched, and It is what it is. So give yourself a mama break. You're doing the best you can. Pat yourself on the back. Motherhood is hard anyways, let alone being a mother with a medical diagnosis or cancer or anything like that. It's hard as SHIT, and you're doing it. So keep it up. Good for you. Parenthood's hard. That's where we're going to end this video. Bye, everybody.